There's a new scramble for Africa, and this time it is not just for the natural resources, it is for the creativity and inspiration Africa provides. With 1.2 billion people and over 3,000 diverse cultures, Africa is the mood board for the world. This series aims to derive much needed insight and information from West African creatives, some kind of behind the gloss, talking to them on matters from production to manufacturing, retailing, textiles, sustainability, fashion waste, and of course, the future.
Validation is not one that I would say we should seek from the Western world, because to me, creativity actually originates from the continent.
So I'm not going to lie, it feels absolutely weird sitting down on camera.
Yes.
You. Because like you're one of my oldest friends in this fashion, African fashion movement.
Yeah.
So Christie Brown, your label, tell about the Brown and how it started.
So it was 2008. That's when the brand was launched. But it was that whole Africa Rising movement. It was ripe. You know, I just needed to be a part of the movement. There's only so much that we have. The fashion industry as it stands, or even creative industry. Here's what. Say you have a brand, Christie Brown or Arieta's. You're doing fantastic in Ghana, not just Ghana, maybe Accra. And that's because maybe you can only produce to cater, like you can only produce enough to cater to certain segments of the market. And you get some sort of international recognition. You're in Vogue, or you're in, you put a piece in some magazine and it's seen all over the world, and people now want the product, but you can't actually provide it. How frustrating. The amount of money we're leaving on the table. Unfortunately, production or manufacturing is a huge problem for us. I actually feel bad. I feel like we've been growing for a long time. It's like, when are we going to be established, right? But it's still in infant stages. You know, everybody's trying their hands at whatever works, trying to see. But the important thing is that, yes, we might not have certain resources, even to do research for your collections and so on. But it's important for you to be inspired by what is around you, you see. Otherwise, can you imagine how frustrating it will be?
Donc voici Ahmed, je travaille avec son atelier depuis quelques mois. Il me fatigue beaucoup, mais il travaille bien. Donc là, on est en train de travailler sur les pièces que je vais emmener à Tchalewote, et puis quelques pièces que je dois faire parvenir à mes clientes aux États-Unis, en France et tout. Oui, qu'est-ce que tu penses du fait que ton travail ait été porté par Beyoncé?
Vraiment, ça m'a piqué le cœur, et puis bon, je me suis dit quoi? Je ne pensais pas un jour, je ne pensais pas ça, mais grâce à toi, grâce à la falaise, je me voyais très loin, très loin avec la chose.
Donc avant, quand j'étais enfant, je portais les coris. Au départ, j'avais peur de les porter parce qu'on disait que les coris, c'était pas bon, c'était lié au diable, c'était lié au mauvais esprit. Donc je ne pouvais pas porter avant. Et après, quand j'ai commencé à étudier la culture africaine, la spiritualité africaine, j'ai su ce qu'étaient les coris. J'ai su l'importance des coris, l'héritage que nous a donné nos ancêtres. Donc l'année dernière, je me préparais pour Tchalewote. D'ailleurs, je vais à Tchalewote cette année. Je me préparais pour Tchalewote.
We're off to your factory now in Lagos Island. Tell us a bit about your factory.
I always find that it's better to start a business and have comparative advantage. Lagos Island is where the hub of the fashion Balogun market is. All the materials, everything is. So proximity to that is so important because it reduces your costs.
So the Balogun market is the market where all the textiles...
Textiles are there. The Martin Street is where all the jewelry, accessory, components, beads, crystals, everything was all in there. So why not be there? Before then, it was a lot harder to have control over the manufacturing because we're always outsourcing a lot of the parts. It gave us less stress initially, but in the long run, it will always be a problem because consistency was so important to me.
Was it easy coming across labor?
It's still a challenge. But I think with the labor, there are some external factors. And once you can, try and control as much as you can by providing some kind of support to deal with those external factors to the labor force of your own organization, then it's a tough one, but it's a half of the battle. I must say, Nigerians are very creative, naturally. Definitely, the attention to detail is still a problem, but once you are able to showcase to them the reason for why that attention to detail is important, they then start to run off with it.
The thing that I've always said is that our cultural heritage and any spin-offs from that in terms of our products and stuff, that is our comparative advantage. According to the Made in Africa report out in 2019, titled Manufacturing and the Fourth Industrial Revolution, Africa currently only accounts for 1.9% of the global manufacturing industry. This clearly means that there is an urgent need for Africa to rapidly industrialize and add value to everything that we produce on the continent instead of exporting raw materials that will make us susceptible to the global price volatilities.
So I've always wanted to be in fashion somehow because, I grew up around my mothers and my aunties asking me to design because I was drawing very early on. So I would, sketch some designs for my mom, for my aunts, for my own uniform, my school uniforms when I was younger.
Just amend it slightly.
Exactly, yeah. Not knowing that it could actually be a career. So in the beginning, it was just, having fun, expressing myself creatively.
So you mentioned about working with local artisans and stuff like that. And what you said, which I found very interesting, was that you went to see what they could create. Yeah. And then off the back of seeing what they made, you kind of adjusted to meet their level, not trying to get them to create something for you. Why was that important?
It's important for them to have value for their work, to feel their work validated for, because sometimes there are practices that they've done for years. That's one thing. Another thing is to come in and tell someone, don't do this like this, do it like that, is, I think, patronizing,
quite
even
actually.
Reductive in a way. So in working as a team, they feel a sense of ownership into whatever you're creating as well. So when it's Beyonce wearing it, whether it's Kelly Rowland wearing it, and I have the picture and go back to them, and I go back and show them the picture, they're like, yes, this is my work. The slow process of creating or building something, you have to enjoy it. It's really the process that's enjoyable. It's not the finishing. I can get an order from Beyonce or any other celebrities and they wear it. Okay, it's validating to my work. It's nice, but that's only just the minimum, like a small part of the entire process, because there's the creative process, there's the everything that it took for you to get the pieces realize that I feel more valuable than the actual finished product. So it's really about enjoying the process, I'd say. And also, this is something that I say a lot, it's do what you can with what you have where you are.
Do what you can
with what you have where you are.
Okay.
Yes. Which is, I feel, how to say, like it's just another way of saying be creative, because the constraints that you come across are really supposed to push you to look at the things that you have in a different light and to push yourself to utilize those things to create something.
Any production and manufacturing value chain begins with the sourcing of raw materials. Raw materials in West Africa are sourced from a variety of channels, but the main channels have historically been from animals, from which we derive leather, wool and silk, plants that give us cotton, flax, jute, hemp and bamboo, as well as a host of other natural resources and minerals like gold, copper and uranium, which are used in almost everyday life everywhere.
Hello.
Thank you for letting me into your new space. It's not even open yet.
No, not yet. Maybe in 2-4 days.
2-4 days?
Yeah.
That's amazing. How hard is it for you working with local artisans? Is it hard? Is it easy? Is it important?
So the collaboration, as we say, with the artisan is complex, but it's not complicated and it's not difficult. If we want to build something, we have to pass by this way. In French, you have this quote. It's je n'ai pas la science infuse. Je n'ai pas la science infuse. I don't know all in this department until we will build our industry, until we will don't need to say, we just say one and everybody understand. Yeah. But for the moment, we have to arrange our angle.
Okay.
Yes, with everybody.
Loza said yesterday that if you're working in Africa, one thing that's very important when working with the artisans is not for you to give them your vision. Exactly. You go to them, find out what their specialty is, and then adapt to them.
Exactly. And Loza have this code to say, do what you can, where you are, with what you have.
Oh.
So this made everything, all this equation simple.
So do you think the unique challenges, worrying about, night, electricity, or any other thing, do you think it actually stifles creativity or forces it to be more creative?
Maybe we are challenges maximize the resource that you have and also maximize the outcome. So yeah, it's just finding the right balance.
Follow. All right. As a creative, how have you found the challenges?
I didn't find it too difficult. I think I'm quite adverse to challenges because London wasn't an easy feat. And I understood the struggle already from the UK, just to be a creative in that space. And I think even being a creative in London was a bit more challenging for me because you had to juggle rent, surviving, pursuing the career, feeding, all of that. And it's not, we're not talking about rent, like, yearly, how we do it here. I think my main struggle was
hand to mouth.
It was literally hand to mouth. I didn't understand it. It was a lot. I remember times in London where I couldn't get on the bus.
Because you couldn't afford it.
I couldn't afford it.
It's actually funny because you're the first creative who's actually made that comparison. So for you here, everything's going okay.
For me, it has its differences.
Yeah.
Here for me, the difficulty is adjusting to non-structure. Coming from a world where everything is structured and you were born and raised in that system, it's a situation whereby you're used to certain things happening. For you, it's just a given. You take those things for granted, but over here you come back and you're like,
can't take that for granted.
You can't. Every little thing actually does matter.
So all those people who work building your brand, there's no fashion colleges in Africa, and they all self-taught. How?
God, I have tailors with me. One of my head tailors has been doing this for like maybe 15, 17, 18 years. I have people in the team that are just specialized in suit making and all they make. And the love about them is that if it's not right, they will redo it. With a smile on their face. And you can't take
They're very proud of their work.
They are. And it's even being proud of the work, they're proud of the brand. Like, when they see it internationally and when they see it locally, they're like, this is us.
The issue with production and manufacturing across West Africa is a complex one. Sub-Saharan Africa presents the biggest challenges, and we have seen countless missed opportunities to get this right.
We say this one will truly cow. So you know me only know you titamila. Then we have the fish bone. This is fish bone. Fish bone is saying, this fish bone, oh, you promise me when you marry me, you will not marry another wife. Fish bone is very hard to swallow. So
yes.
Make sure you fulfill your promise, oh, because it will not. It will
choke you.
You know, Africa has a very large young population. 65% are under the age of 25. And to me, that's a huge investment potential that we need to really nurture and provide the right capital and support that is needed. And that, to me, can actually return more profit than going into fast fashion. So just think about it. I'll give you an example of what I'm saying. If there was a brand here, or let's say we could put all of our brands into like a manufacturing hub, okay, and ensure that processes are done properly, fair wages are paid, they're able to source raw materials in a very sustainable way. Let's even look at from agriculture to the fashion supply chain, right from the farms. If we could even find ways in which we can support cotton farmers, grow more cotton, and we have a system here where we can convert that cotton into material, and that material is used in the fashion, in the pieces that the designer is making. Just imagine the kind of contribution that would give to our GDP. It's not only our natural resources that actually would drive the economic development of our continent. It isn't that, because natural resources would deplete. But the human resource, which is the human capital, once you educate it, once you provide it with the infrastructure it needs, then you can see.
Listen, you know what? They need to be empowered, they need to be equipped. Where are you producing? Who, you know, where are you sourcing from?
Yeah.
You know, is your business vertically integrated that, you know, can cushion and absorb any, you know, any sudden change, any sudden fluctuation of markets? You know, look at us in 2020.
Yeah.
Who would have thought, Arieta,
No.
that you couldn't immediately get fabrics from your silks from Italy, or your fabrics produced in, I don't know, where people produce, and you have to rely on.
Can't even get there. You can't even
and
get
if you
there.
can, you know, at what price? So you buy it at X, but by the time, you know, the collection comes out, you know, it's been devalued again. And so what do you do? So it's time, you know, this is the time for us to build vertically integrated businesses, right? That empowers our communities. This is the time for us to, you know, rally around our designers that, listen, guys, it's important that we design with the purpose. It's important that we design with our community in mind.
Yeah.
It's important to design with, you know, thinking about how we feed back into our own economy so we can grow.
We are in the middle of Chaliwote, which is one of Africa's premier street art, culture, music, and creative festival. Regardless of what the older generations of West Africans may think or feel, the young are fearless in telling their own stories, depicting an Africa that they know, and expressing their creativity in innovative ways on par with their global counterparts.
The world is thirsty for African stories. And I believe that now more and more Africans are telling the story in a much more centered and empowered way. And I think like the great Toni Morrison, who recently just passed away, was saying that it's important for Africans, people of African descent, to tell the story from their own center of gravity. Not being in reaction to anybody, not trying to answer anybody's problem, not trying to be on anyone's platform or waiting for anybody's recognition or validation. It's just really just stand on your own and speak loudly, because you yourself understand that what you are saying is valid, is important. And if it's important for you, it will eventually become important for the rest of the world.
My opinion will always be out there as long as I'm original to myself, to be honest. I don't really focus on the challenges. I mean, everything has a challenge, so for me it's just people understanding that would only be the challenge. I would say, in essence, that there exists, because to the basic mind it's like, okay, this person is crazy.
Yeah, that's basic mind.
Exactly. But then to someone who's also basic, this is a sort of an exposure to their mind also, to something different, something that's out of the box. So I feel like therein is the challenge of pleasing these people, engaging these minds to understanding that this is a safe space to be whoever you want to be free, essentially.
So do you think your work is centered towards or is targeted towards the diaspora, more the diasporan audience than people back home in Africa, or it's just any and everybody?
I feel like it's any and everybody, to be honest. It's not targeted towards one group of people which are in Africa or outside Africa, but I would say it's created to engage different minds, to be honest. If you're outside of Africa and you still understand this, it's all well and good, but if you're in here and you truly understand it, I'm really happy about that. So it's sort of engaging and bringing those two worlds together.
Yeah.
And bringing all different types of minds together, so understanding that there is sort of a silent protest where we're sort of revealing with this brand and sort of trying to reveal certain stories that have existed within time but have sort of been washed away or disappeared. So forgotten about it. Exactly.
Yeah. Could you elaborate more on your thoughts around the stereotyping of what is African fashion?
I mean, I think, it's sadly, I'm going to throw back to being colonized. I think it comes from our
colonial mentality.
Yeah, where we've always been told how to present ourselves by people who aren't from here. It's like we've been suppressed and told that, okay, this is how to act, this is how to behave, this is what you need to do, this is how you need to do it, this is how your culture needs to be proposed. And so those things have told on into so many parts of us as who we are, as people in the country and the continent. Yeah. And I think that's why fashion, for so many years, for example, we're using Ankara, which is even Nigerian or which is even African, and we're told, oh yeah, that's what Africa is. Use Ankara, make an Ankara dress, make this, make that. And so many of the time we've all put ourselves in that space where it's like, okay, yeah, that's what we've been told, so it must be what's true. But I think what it has done is that it's helped us all to wake up and be like, actually, let's look into our history. And I think that's what's so special about this generation of designers, is that they're asking questions and not just taking it
word for it.
So, no, it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why do I need to do that?
Yeah.
Why must I be this?
Yeah.
No, this is what I want to say. I don't want to say that. And it helps us to throw out all those stereotypes and be like, what, stereotypes are not beneficial to us. Yeah. Let's be who we want to be. Let's create our own identity, create our own narratives, and push us to who we want to be, and then export that narrative to the international audience.
While there are not many places or opportunities for the majority of the West African population to harness and nurture any creative talent, the internet has provided a safe space where they can learn how to create, recreate, and in turn disseminate new images and new narratives of Africa.
To now, understand what really are important in life, to be very honest.
Started by, just, looking at what's, like the past, photographers like Sagoe, Summer Fosso has done and they are doing, Summer Fosso is still making work. And there's this, identity that comes with it. And for so many reasons, like they kind of embody it and they didn't shy away from it. So I felt like, if they can do it that way, I could also tap into just embracing what we have here, what we do here. And like the more we talk about ourselves, the more solution we find, I believe.
Yeah.
There's a huge need for relationship and collaboration. And for me, I really don't joke with people from Ghana. I don't joke with people from, Cameroon, Ivory Coast. I think we need to see ourselves as, as an exchange of we need ourselves, we need more of ourselves, rather than just, you need to kind of look for this greener pasture in the West.
Yeah.
And the West now understand the effect of what is happening here, and they have the insights.
Yeah.
So we need to look inward by ourselves and kind of look back and trace what is important to us.
I just want them to know that there's so much we have here as creatives, and sometimes it's rather unfortunate we ourselves, we look down upon ourselves. And to be honest, I feel like if you really believe in what you do, you go to the extreme mile to achieve it in every possible best way that you can.
I think that we have something so special going on right now, and I think before, maybe you can say like 6 years before, we were so focused on international brands and the Gucci's and Versace's, but I think it was time that we now focused on what we were creating on the continent. And so I decided to use my story, my voice to sort of push that initiative across the continent. It's about time. I think the world needs to hear what Africa has to say or has to do. I think that not just the world, but Africans themselves, we need to patronize what we are making, and this is the best way.
Since the emergence of social media platforms, specifically Instagram, West African creatives are boldly expressing themselves in their own narratives, on their own terms, sidestepping any stereotypical depictions and still court international interest.
Ce qui est un peu dommage, c'est qu'ici à Abidjan, les créatifs sont vus comme des gens qui n'ont pas eu le choix au fait, qui ont peut-être raté leur scolarité et donc qui ont décidé de devenir soit couturier comme on les appelle ou photographe. Moi à la base j'ai toujours un job, je travaille dans la finance, je suis auditeur. Donc du lundi au vendredi je vais à un taf normal, entre guillemets, et puis quand j'ai du temps libre je me consacre à la mode et à la photographie. Donc il faut que les gens comprennent que l'art n'est pas mieux valorisant qu'un autre métier au fait. C'est tout aussi valable au fait. Et que ça demande aussi beaucoup de capacités intellectuelles pour être un artiste, surtout ici.
La scène créative ici ivoirienne, elle est magnifique. Il y a énormément de choses nouvelles qui commencent à venir. Il y a des jeunes qui viennent de la diaspora, France, États-Unis, Angleterre, whatever you want, qui viennent ici en Côte d'Ivoire pour apporter quelque chose de nouveau à la scène créative ici en Côte d'Ivoire. Oula! Quel est le grand problème? Je pense que c'est plus les mentalités africaines, the African mentality ici, qui sont assez compliquées parce que la plupart de la communauté africaine a du mal à accepter énormément de créativité. On est beaucoup dans l'aspect traditional des choses, mais dans l'aspect moderne africain, c'est un peu compliqué. Donc des créateurs comme Loza ou Kanté Gentleman ont parfois du mal à pouvoir vraiment faire vivre leur art. Je pense que les réseaux sociaux ont apporté beaucoup de choses. Les réseaux sociaux ont apporté beaucoup de choses en matière de créativité, en matière d'inventivité, en matière d'open-minded, comme j'ai dit tout à l'heure. Mais les créateurs vraiment ont poussé l'énergie, the energy, encore plus loin, so far. Et ce qui a fait que maintenant, quand tu es aux États-Unis, United States, England, Paris, Italie, whatever you want, tu as la possibilité de découvrir quelque chose de nouveau ici en Côte d'Ivoire. Et la diaspora apprécie ce qu'elle voit au niveau créatif en Côte d'Ivoire.
Yeah, I feel like right now in the fashion industry there's this Africa quota where there has to be some representation of Africa. Yeah. I have very strong views.
No, please, I'm very much exactly. And I remember I have exactly
the same views. Yeah. I just feel like where's the sustainability? Exactly. So they come, they see some great designers, oh, they're really great, whatever. They take them, we do a pop-up in London, do a pop-up in Tokyo, and then after that, what happens to the designer?
Yes.
And I just feel like if the world really wants to make an impact, then let's look at even foreign direct investment into Africa. Let's start looking at manufacturing. Yeah. We have a huge population. There's probably a workforce that we could, establish in this fashion industry. Yeah. Why don't we work on developing skills and actually building our capacity instead of just having, the Africa quota?
Please, let's go dress up.
Orange culture, Oh, yeah, dress up first.
Let's go, yes.
Nigerians don't joke with their fashion. They love makeup. They love to look good. Like an everyday Nigerian on the street, just look at their faces.
Yeah.
Full face of makeup.
Yeah.
everything on fleek. Brows, lipstick, everything, foundation, everything on fleek. Every day. I'm like, even Beyonce doesn't wear makeup every day. Nigerians don't joke with their makeup. And you know, when they look at you and they're like, hi, they're looking at your brows, they're looking at everything. They're just into makeup. International people, international brands are coming into, they're trooping into Nigeria. And it's happening. It's happening. I mean, like, look at me. I'm the artistic director of an international brand.
For Maybelline.
For Maybelline.
What we want to bring to people is a culture, so they can discover Africa and they can understand what do we like, what we think is cool, what we think is beautiful, and all that. And even for the Ivorian people, I think it's important for us too.
First and foremost, we need to make sure we're making clothes for our people first, and then everybody else second. I think we have it the wrong way around sometimes. Wax Law from Senegal.
Yes, absolutely.
So you have Nigeria, you have Senegal, you got
we got Mali, we got Burkina, we got Côte d'Ivoire. We try to bring something from a lot of West African countries. We also got East African like Rwanda, Burundi, and all that. It's really interesting for us to get all of this branding.
C'était compliqué, c'était difficile de réussir à s'imposer, d'imposer sa marque à partir du moment où les Ivoiriens je parle des Ivoiriens parce que les Africains je sais moins, mais les Ivoiriens ont pris l'habitude de porter des marques, d'être fiers de porter des marques étrangères plutôt que des marques locales. Faire en fait du 100% made in Côte d'Ivoire, c'est quand même plus intéressant.
With e-commerce and social selling fast invading the space of the bricks and mortar store, retail is alive and well across West Africa. And though West Africans have embraced digital selling, retailing in real life still has a dedicated audience.
We like to think of the lot as a travel destination and, sort of an experience. We stock over 50 different brands. So, like I said, it varies from apparel to art to cosmetics, skincare, all African brands. A lot of the time, I think there's a misconception that there aren't that many luxury brands in Africa, but, with running the lot for almost a year now, there's a lot.
The shift to retailing online and selling socially has led to the rise in specialist online stores and social media platforms, which cater to the needs of anyone with an interest in buying African products. Websites like The Folklore, Industry Africa, Ichulu, and Jindaya.com, just to name a few, all offer contemporary African lifestyle products to a wider audience.
So for things like this, for me, I feel these things are what is pulling our industry backwards. Like just pulling us backwards all the time because people afford this. This is
that's our
less
bread and butter. That's everyday clothing.
Exactly. And if you can't afford luxury, you seek comfort. And then the cost of production is very expensive in Ghana. So if before a garment should come out, it then just costs like 100 cedis just to buy a top. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, depending on the brand. But here comes the case, as you can see, we bought a trousers for 3 cedis, 2
now we're about
cedis,
to
1
buy a
cedi.
top.
And trust me, that's like a 5 cedi or 3 cedis. You can even get a denim jeans for 1 cedi here. You understand? And that is how bad this whole second-hand clothing industry is destroying our fashion industry. So people are saying to start creating things out of these things. Some are creating pieces out of their bags, out of it, trying to recreate them into pieces or different things and put them back on the market so that we can get rid of this garbage. Instead of it being a garbage and destroying our very mind, we would rather wear it and then make it very fashionable.
How do we ensure that products have a longer shelf life beyond it's this season, in this season, is out next season, and people are tossing it away? So how do we bring all of that back? How do we create that loop where things are brought back in, either fabrics? I mean, look at what Unko is doing. How do we re-loop the fabrics back into either through the process of repurposing or reusing to redesign something else to ensure that there's really no waste?
I think we are all like victims of, fast fashion being like the fact that we all consume and buy things because they're cheap and they're easy to, just buy one thing and you wear it for a week and then go and on to the next.
The creative economy has arrived in West Africa. While knowledge isn't quite easily accessible, creativity has become the hallmark of a prosperous and dynamic economy. Creativity is a new kind of currency.
The future of African fashion and creativity is promising. It's going to help brands work faster and be able to keep up with the pace of fashion nowadays. Also help produce at a faster rate because you're cutting down sampling, you're cutting down fittings and creating textures and whatnot, seeing what things will look like. It will also make collaborations with other brands faster because bouncing ideas off of each other is much faster through 3D softwares where you can create realistic looking garments in minutes. Also, gauging how people respond, how your consumers will respond to your new products before going into production will save you money, time, and also increase revenue. Also, with presentations, with showing your designs, people can experience, other people in other parts of the world can experience designer shows without having to physically be there.
I see African fashion, taking its rightful place in the industry. We care about sustainability and its preservation.
Future for Africa in terms of fashion is that Africa embraces our own. We appreciate what we do, and the future is definitely bright for us when we actually appreciate our own, as in not just be limit ourselves in this space, but also explore as well and learn.
I've seen us change in the last 25 years from you can't go and do fashion design. In fact, fashion design wasn't even the word. You go and sew. That's how they put it. Sewing was a word. To now it's designers and couture and the different names that we use. And style has changed so much right now. And we get it. So I think in the next 10 years, we should be producing garments, we should be putting them in our shops, we should be working with the other African countries as well.
I feel that, it's at the very early days of its growth, and it will take time, and we have to be patient. And maybe the secret lies between the patience of being able to have a dual communication where you're able to communicate and package something for Africans in Africa, Africans on the continent, and Africans in diaspora.
I honestly feel like with every individual, the things that we find inspiring is different. And for our generation, we are really in this unique space, which is why the idea of meeting Western culture meeting and our traditional culture in the middle is such a big deal right now, because I feel like our generation is so very uniquely positioned where we grew up with parents who are very largely conservative and traditional, but somewhere along the line we're exposed to the world around you, and there is no way to avoid being inspired or being inspired or being influenced by that.
Fashion in Africa is here to stay. It's not going nowhere. Everybody's jumping to everything African now, so I think it's not going anywhere.
Final words from all of you on, just in one word, the future of fashion in Africa is? Is.
I love him.
The future of fashion in Africa is. At the end.
Awesome.
Possibilities. I think we will wrap up on that. Thank you guys so much.
The future for me lies in a deeper understanding that fashion can do more and fashion can be more. Yes. Right. And with that comes the need for all of us to ensure that we're part of a process that creates or generates more value beyond what we can see.
For me, the creative economy is a tool for growth, inclusive growth and development of our continent. And in the next 10 years, because we have such a young population, and the creative economy is the highest employer of young people and of women, is transformational if we do it right.
The future for West African creativity is limitless. And as we've seen from the events in 2020, New Africa has been birthed, but is currently going through some growing pains. West Africans have found their voice, and if across our various nations we are all able to work together, the possibilities will be endless. Coopetition should be our new buzzword. Cooperating and collaborating with our perceived competition and working together to produce amazing work, which will benefit the growth and development of not only West Africa, but the entire continent.
So I think Africa can redefine that and ensure that we have sustainable platforms that we set up here. We need to set up that infrastructure because I believe we have the artisanship, we have the craftsmanship here.
I feel that most creatives, unfortunately, due to the nature of how big the continent is and how young the industries are, they tend to work alone. And it's amazing, people like you and many other institutions, foundations, and Lagos Fashion Week and many other weeks, they are trying to bring these people together. And I think that in itself is a huge success.
Africa rising. Yeah. Africa resource. Yeah. And it's turning into Africa. Here we are.
Here we are. This is us, basically.
This is us.
Yeah. I think ethical fashion is the way to go. In the sense that it's going to protect our ecosystem and our environment.
I actually think collaboration is actually very key on every level.
Yeah.
Like literally vertical, horizontal collaborations with everybody, and even with models.
Yeah.
When do we make our models super models?
And when they become your muses, like from start to finish.